Thank you. Thank you very much. Mrs. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. When two human beings get together, it's a pretty good bet they're going to talk. One's going to talk, one's going to listen. That's just the way it is. Let me suggest to you, be the listener. Be the listener. Listeners have more fun. Have you ever come home from a cocktail party and complained to your wife, "Oh my gosh, did you meet that guy George? All he did was listen all night long." No, you don't do that. You come home from a cocktail party and you say, "Oh, did you meet that guy David? Oh, he talked my ear off. I couldn't get away from him." I think every man, woman, and child on the planet wants to talk more than they're allowed to. People just love to talk. And if you'll listen to them, they'll love you. So let me suggest to you, learn to be a listener, and you will make more money if you're a salesman. You'll have more friends, and you just feel better about yourself. I learned to listen early in my sales career. Probably the first 24 months of my sales career, I talked more than I did the next 24 years in my sales career. By the way, I almost starved to death that first 24 months too. But Mark Twain said, if God had intended for us to talk more than we listen, he would have given us two tongues and one ear. Well, that makes a lot of sense, don't you agree? But I have some suggestions for you. And suggestion number one is pretty simple. Don't talk. My 3-word seminar for salesmen: shut your mouth. You know, if you ever find yourself on a airplane, park bench, waiting room at the tire store, somebody's going to talk, somebody's going to listen, and if you just shut your mouth and let the other guy talk, you might learn something important. You might, and even if you don't, the other guy will enjoy it more, and probably you will too, because you already know everything that you're going to say. Don't you agree? So shut your mouth. Now, if silence is a problem, just ask a question. Where are you going? What's wrong with your car? Yeah, ask a question and brace yourself, because here comes the answer, about 30 minutes. And that's okay. That's okay. Now, the second thing I want to suggest, by the way, when people say important stuff, it might be a good idea to repeat it back to them. If you've ever learned to fly a small plane, they teach you that when the air traffic controller tells you what to do and when to do it, and they tell you what to do and when to do it, and you have to repeat their instructions back to them so they know you got it right. I was watching the History Channel last week, and they had this episode they told about where a fatal accident, where this pilot repeated the information back wrong, but the air traffic controller was distracted, didn't catch the mistake, and it was a fatal mistake. Very important if you repeat stuff back. But shut your mouth. And that brings us to the next point, which is avoid distractions. In that story I just told, the air traffic controller was distracted. And you don't need to be distracted. How many of y'all like it when you're talking to somebody and they're sending a text? I don't know about y'all, I don't like that. Now, you can get away with that with an audience like that, but if you're one-on-one with a customer, you're not going to sell that customer. He's going to buy from somebody else, I promise. So if you have distractions, get rid of them. The next rule, do not interrupt the speaker. Do not interrupt the speaker. By the way, there should be an tabulator for people that, there should be an tabulator for people that interrupt. Because people do it all the time. I can assure you, number one, it's rude. But number two, the other guy doesn't need any help finishing his sentence. He knows what he's going to say. And by the way, you think you know what he's going to say, but he doesn't. Since I'm officially retired, I've been spending a lot more time around the house than I usually do. And at 1:30 every day, my wife has to watch The Bold and the Beautiful. Well, they got this storyline going on The Bold and the Beautiful where Rick Forrester, the star of the show, has fallen in love with the beautiful model Mia. And Mia has been looking for the right moment to tell Rick that she hasn't always been a girl. She was born a boy. That's pretty hot news, wouldn't you agree? So she comes to Rick and she says, Rick, I have something important to tell you. Just listen. But does he? Hell no. He says, I know what you're going to say, and starts into a monologue that lasts all the way to the next commercial. I don't know what the end of that story was because I didn't catch it the next day. But when your loved one says, I have something important to tell you, you should say, hold on, I got to put some duct tape over my mouth. And just listen to what they say. Which brings us to the next point, which is hold your judgment. Don't be judgmental. When your 13-year-old says, well, Dad, I've been experimenting with drugs. Let me tighten up the duct tape and just keep on listening. Just keep on listening. Don't start talking and passing judgment. And the last thing is allow for the silent pause. You know, some people think when we get together for a conversation that every single second has to be filled up with words. No, no, no. When people pause, let them pause. Let them pause. You know, I'm with a customer and the customer says, oh, Ron, I don't quite know what to do. Well, the salesman in me says, well, I'll tell you what to do. You need to sign that document right there. Let's get the show on the road and get this thing done. But no, no, no. Just let that pause exist. I don't quite know what to do, Ron. But maybe you know what to do. I guess if we listed the house with you, well, you'd probably get it sold and take care of all of our problems. Do you have the paperwork? As a matter of fact, I do. You know, they say salesmen have the gift of gab. You don't need the gift of gab. You need the skill of listening. Ms. Toastmaster.